Here's how we do our glue ups for medium-sized signs.
For our medium-sized glue ups, we use 1x8 shiplap, and we use that mainly because there's not a lot of options out here in the desert. We always cut them 3 to 4 inches bigger than the actual board is going to be to give us a little bit of wiggle room when we trim the edges off. We set our table saw blade at a perfect 90, and then we trim off the edges, and that should give you a really nice seam. Every once in a while we have to use a joiner, but most of the time it works out really well. Make sure to dry fit your boards before you use any glue. Now, to protect our table, we use these old shower curtains. You can buy them on Amazon for like $3 or $4 a piece. They're super cheap, and we use them all the time. Now, especially if you have more than 2 boards, it's a good idea when you dry fit them to mark them and make sure you know which ones go where for the best fit. This is a little bit more glue than most people use, but I'd rather have too much than not enough. And we haven't had any issues with our boards coming apart or snapping at the seams at all, so that's just how we do it. When you're clamping up your board, tighten the clamps a little bit. You want it to be solid, but don't cinch them down just yet. We put cawls on each one of the seams to make sure that it stays as flat as it can. And for the middle, we have several different cawls we use for different size boards, but for this one, they're just a couple little 12-inch pieces of angle iron with packing tape on there. And it really does help to keep the board flat as it's drying. Once you get it where you want it, now it's time to cinch those clamps down and really get it tight. The third bar clamp might not have been necessary, but it's always a better idea to have more clamps than not enough. And you always want to take off the excess glue before it dries. That's just something we do on all of our boards, and it really cuts down on the sanding time once it's done and once it's dry. And you can see we've got a really nice looking seam, and this is going to make a beautiful sign.
If you're limited on material choices like we are, this is a great alternative to making bigger boards. You can see everything that we used on this sign over at our website, makeawoodsign.com. Go check it out.